Hello and welcome. My name is Scott Suskovic. I'm pastor at Christ Lutheran Church, and welcome to this podcast that we call Deeper Dive, in which we take a look at the previous Sunday's sermon and go at a deeper level for a great conversation. We're glad you're here. Pastor Scott here, along with
Pastor Adrienne.
And we're glad you're joining us on this sermon series called A Living Hope. Have you done much work in 1 Peter before? It's kind of obscure.
Yeah, I've read through it, but it hasn't been one of deep study. So
Right.
I love the sermon series, A Living Hope, and the focus we have.
You know, there are certain books in the Bible, of course, that get more attention. You think about, from our Lutheran perspective, the book of Romans. Certainly all the Gospels have their own great emphasis. In the Old Testament, the Psalms and probably Genesis. 50% of all the stories we know in the Bible from Sunday school come from Genesis.
Right, lots of chapters in there.
Yeah. So it's a little bit more obscure, and it's really fun because we're going even deeper still for our Wednesdays Ablaze class, in which we're having more time to have a dialogue and conversation stuff. So it's been good.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, last Sunday, just to give people a reminder to wrap their minds around where we were last Sunday, we talked about screw tape letters. You read that before, haven't you?
I have, and I loved how you applied it, because when I read it, I remember being upset by it. I remember how manipulative screw tape is.
Right.
So yeah, it's been a while, so it was a good reminder.
You know, somebody asked C.S. Lewis once about if he were going to do a part 2, a follow-up book. And he said no. And the reason was very much your reason. His reasoning, he was saying, he had to get to such a dark place to be able to enter into the mind of evil, to be able to twist everything around. You know, the enemy is God. Despicable creatures, you and me. The goodness is actually the evil. And so he said, I didn't want to go down that hole again to wrap my mind around it. That's how powerful that book is.
That's amazing. It is a powerful book. It's kind of like an actor when they put on a persona and they really get into it, but it can really affect them in harmful ways. I respect that he said once was enough.
I use that as an illustration about the clever ways that the darkness, the demons, try to trick us, try to frustrate us, try to ensnare us. Having a comical image of what the devil looks like in a red suit and a pitchfork, or getting us really, really so busy that we don't stop and really consider the depth of God's love. The third one was, all right, keep them busy at church. Let them go to church.
Yeah, that one probably a lot of like, oh my goodness, I fit in that category.
I volunteer, I'm on the council, I set up and I tear down, I cook brownies. Yeah, you can get so busy with church, doing church, that you are distracted. You're not hearing the message.
Being church. Yeah.
But the big one we focused on Sunday was using that word just. You hear that a lot. I hear it a lot. Oh, how far did you run today? Oh, I just ran 3 miles.
Yeah, minimizing.
And when you use the word just, it sounds like you're being a very reasonable person. You're not asking for much. I just want things in order. I just want my eggs made right. Is that too much to ask?
Right.
And there was that little kid in the back of the church said, no!
That was great. That got
perfect timing.
Yeah.
Well, and then it gets even deeper, saying there are those who use that word just to minimize who they are. I'm just a nobody. I'm just a waitress. I'm just a soccer mom. I'm just one person. Which then lulls us into inactivity. And you go worse. It's what the powerful labels put on us. You're just a minority.
Yeah.
You're just a poor kid. You're just from an abused, broken home. You just are from alcoholic parents. And so that just beats you down to the point that you end up actually believing.
Yeah, it's interesting. An insight came out, in staff that label is given to us. It's not something we normally start with.
No.
And one that we internalize, and it affects us.
We believe the lie, we wear the label, we live into the prejudice. And I'm thinking this was going on with Peter's audience, that these were lower class people. They were outcasts because they were both Gentile, they were poor, they were tenant farmers, but then further outcast because they were Christians. And they probably said, what can I do? I'm just a farmer,
Lowly.
shepherd, whatever else.
Right.
But here is where Peter speaks to them, but he speaks to us too. Don't use that word just. Don't use that word just. Do you have any idea who you are? and then Peter has that great verse that should be underlined in everybody's Bible. But you are a chosen people. That is, you're not just anybody. You're not just random. You're not an accident. No, you're chosen. You're a royal priesthood. That is, you got the power of God that surges through your soul as God's hands and feet and voice in a broken world. You're a priest.
Yeah.
And you're a holy nation. You are not just one voice.
Yeah, that voice that breaks into that identity that they were carrying of I'm nothing, I'm persecuted. This is going to be all there is.
Right.
Yeah.
Because with that word just, we limit ourselves in so many different ways. So what I want to do today here is I want us to get really practical. And if we're not speaking to the first century Gentile Christians, but we're talking to our own community today, it has been a rough couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Shootings in Minnesota into a church with children, shootings over in Colorado.
Murder on a train on the light rail.
Yeah, with that Ukrainian woman. And then, of course, the assassination of Charlie Kirk. What are some ways, if we're going to be chosen, if we're going to be priests, if we're going to be holy, if we're going to be God's special possession, what are some real practical ways in which we can live that out?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that's really needed. And I think part of it is exactly what Peter is saying, is to think that way. That's where it starts. It has to start. And I think sometimes changing your thinking can be the hardest thing you do.
Right.
Is to really own that voice breaking in.
I think there are we can look at it through a lot of different filters, but I want to look at it through the macro and through the micro. Now, in the macro, what can we do? Well, we can certainly write to our representatives. We can participate in the marches. We can run for office.
Start nonprofit organizations, participate in them.
We can vote.
Yeah.
All right, there's a lot of macro. But let's get even more practical and go to the micro level when we're thinking about the people that we interact with every day. And, I'm in a small group. I'm in a couple of small groups. I collect small groups. And there's one of my small groups. We have always had lively political and religious conversations. And we've always managed to do those in a respectful way. But it seems recently that's gotten harder and harder to do.
Really?
And feelings get hurt. And so we are taking a hiatus, a sabbatical.
Well, did the group agree to do that?
Yes, but a hiatus, I'm talking politics.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. And we all agreed, saying, because we're kind of evenly split, and we didn't want to fracture the group. These people mean so much to me, and we've walked through so much of life together. So we just said, all right, for a time being, let's just hold off. That's a practical, because the Bible talks about us being living peaceably with one another. Insofar as it depends on you, live peaceably with one another. And at least for the time being, this is a way that we can live peaceably.
Yeah, that makes sense. There may be a point to where when there's not that common ground right now, or is it that emotions are running so high? What do you think it is that causes that? dynamic of hurt feelings?
Well, I think one thing is that these are all sharp, well-read individuals. Nobody has had their mind changed. So in these conversations, what we need to, this will be the second thing. When it does get tense, look for common ground. Start with common ground. And that common ground might be as simple as, all right, I think we can agree that this kind of violence we saw with Charlie Kirk is not left-centered or right-centered. It is across the board. We've had people on the fringe on both sides who are, can we both agree with it? Yes, we can agree with that. Can we agree that violence is not the way to settle disputes? Yes, we could agree. I think if we go down and start on points of agreement, I think the second step is to allow the other person to speak. Oftentimes, we're waiting for them to pause so that we can burst in and interrupt. Let the person speak. Give you 5 minutes, give you 7 minutes. Just kind of say what's on your mind. Third step, repeat what you have heard. So that what I understand is you're saying is this and this and this. And they can either say yes or just say, nope, that's not quite there. Let me just say this part in a different way. So that I can actually articulate. I may not agree with it, but I can articulate an opposing view.
Yeah, and they've been heard. They understand their viewpoint has been received.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense. And, this may be debatable, but, maybe to even withdraw from the news a little bit. I mean, I know as informed citizens, it's important to stay informed, but sometimes the news cycle people can get wrapped up in it too. And that's all they think about. And that's all they want to talk about. And that can be hard to have conversations when not everyone is at that same place or that same position.
Yeah, you're right. I think there are times in which we need to take that sabbatical from the news, especially when there's 24-hour news and they have to somehow fill it with something. And if it bleeds, it leads.
Yeah. So maybe step 3 could be maybe have a sabbatical from the news for certain periods of time, or put it in context that there are also other things going on in the world and in our lives, because there are lots of things small groups can talk about too.
Sure. Yeah, we certainly don't want to put our head in the sand. And we don't want to be so overwhelmed by the news that we get consumed by it, obsessed by it.
Because you could watch it 24 hours a day.
Easy.
You easily could, yeah.
And maybe as we're talking on this practical level, you have heard it, I have heard it, I have said it, that when something bad happens, we might have that phrase, well, our thoughts and prayers are with you.
Right.
And there are certainly those who say, I don't need your thoughts and prayers, I need action.
Right.
Forget about your thoughts and prayers. But as believers, that is action, isn't it?
It is. I totally agree. Prayer changes everything. It's the lifeblood of the Christian life. Yeah.
So I would say continue to.
Yeah. I think, that's something that developed that just lost its power on different platforms. And it felt, over time that it didn't. It was a way of saying, oh, good luck with that.
Yeah.
And I think
thoughts and prayers.
Right. Thoughts and prayers. But the true power of it is that prayer changes the world.
I believe that too.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if this is the way to end this conversation, but part of this practical that we need to do, tone down the violence, tone down the rhetoric, take a sabbatical here. But there's another one too. I think we have to be honest with ourselves. I think we have to name the bile, the hatred, the unhealthy thoughts that we have in our own mind. I think if we name those ourselves, once you name something, it suddenly shrinks in its power. There was I remember fairly recently, there was a conversation I had with somebody, and of course I was nice and polite and pastoral to this individual. But when I left, for a couple of days afterwards, I had this whole monologue in my mind in which I should have said, I would have said, I could have said, and this would have,
taken care of it. And
I would have done a mic drop, and this would have. And I had to stop and say, that's not healthy. To be able to have that kind of aggression with your language. Of course, I never did it, and I probably would never do it, but I have to name it. It's still inside me.
Yeah. Screwtape wouldn't want you to name that.
Screwtape, no. He would not want us to name it. He would want us to say, what? It's normal?
It's nothing. It's not, ignore. Yeah, it's normal.
It's normal.
You have a right to feel that way.
Right.
Yeah.
Another one of its clever tricks. So I looked at Screwtape in the eyes and says, no, don't try those Jedi tricks with me.
Not today, Satan. Not today.
Not today, Satan. I'm going to name it that this is from you. This is from the darkness. This is not from his marvelous light. And so to offer that up to God and say, I'm sorry, this was not the right way to handle that.
Well, that's, I would imagine, what to do, that those thoughts come, and it's being aware of them and stopping them and being honest with ourselves to know that certain things are our issues. And, we are called to heal ourselves so we can heal others. And so I think healing personally is a big part for the micro and the macro, that when we care about ourselves and each other, then that can bubble up to larger systems.
Yeah.
We hope so.
Well, we're going to continue this conversation this coming Sunday about what it means to be chosen, royal, holy, because now Peter's going to talk to these individuals and say, you should look and taste and smell and sound different than the world. So that's where we're going to go on Sunday. You going to be there?
Oh, I plan on it.
I'll be there too. And I hope you are as well. Thanks for joining us.